My daughters and I are almost insanely bold paddlers, so recently, when we tried to decide where to go on our next trip, we settled on something we thought would be suitably exciting: a St. Croix descent. Well, truth is, we're actually not very bold, and we weren't really interested in doing too much that was really exciting. We just wanted a nice little float down a river, which is why really we ended up going on the St. Croix. Our point was just to have a relaxed good time, and that's really what we managed to achieve. So we started by loading up our high quality expedition vehicle, a 1993 Ford Ranger, with one of our state of the art kayaks, an Aleutian double made out of willow branches and a few sticks of lumber from Menards, plus some other kayaks I had happened to have around the house. And then we headed for Wisconsin, where my daughter's girlfriend, Emily, is really familiar with the terrain. So she recommended that we head up for Grantsburg, toward Grantsburg, and go to the Soderbeck Landing, which is down a long gravel road that leads you finally to the banks of the St. Croix on the Wisconsin side. Our intent was to go down the river 300 miles. Well, no, actually, more like divide that by 20, maybe 15 miles. I'm not sure we actually even went that far. And of course, we intended to just float along with the current the whole time, since neither of my daughters is much of a paddler and is really the type of paddler who just wants to kind of show the paddle to the water occasionally. So, if you take a look here close, I'm not sure how much you can really see, but there are a whole bunch of little scattered campsites on the Wisconsin side that I hadn't really been aware of. They're all first come, first serve. You show up, they're yours. We were there in a beautiful, beautiful weekend in September, and almost none of them were occupied. Our intent was to go down, and what we actually did was to go to County Road O, which you can see here too, maybe on the map. As I said, nice little float, absolutely nothing challenging or even much exciting about it, but beautiful nonetheless. So we started our trip, of course, with the thing that's most important, coordinating your fashions. My daughter Anna, pictured here, and I found that we happened to be wearing more or less the same thing, which we, continued to do for the whole time. Um, Having the color coordination issues settled, we set out on this, as you can see, bold exploration. Here you see my daughter Anna in the background, uh, her sister, also my daughter, Lainey, in the front of the Bidarka, and Lainey's girlfriend, Emily, in the little white boat there. Now, the thing about Emily, this is great. She's a really avid forager. So she spends a lot of time prowling around in the woods for mushrooms, fiddleheads, ramp, pretty much anything you can pull out of the woods and eat. So part of our intent was that I would fish, which turned out to be well, actually completely unsuccessful. But Emily and the rest of us were banging around in the woods to find mushrooms. Um, Now, you have to be with somebody you trust. And in this case, I trusted Emily. Nonetheless, you look at a blue mushroom tinged with orange, and despite the fact that I trust Emily, I had to look and think, can this really be edible? Um, the next day, or actually that same day, we picked up a bunch more mushrooms, which ultimately ended up in a big couscous kind of mushroom, onion, garlic dish that was really delicious. The mushrooms gave it, kind of a beefy, meaty taste and mouthfeel. And ultimately, The body count among us, absolutely zero. We all survived, felt great for it, tremendously educational, and, again, just a lot of fun. Another thing to add, I don't know, to that litany of reasons why you go camping or why you go kayaking. So, the long and short of this trip, bold exploration, absolutely brutal conditions. In this picture, what you can't see is truly the mass of poison ivy, probably more poison ivy than I've been around in my life. I managed to pick up a deer tick in the process, since the St. Croix Valley is such a repository of deer ticks, and then finally became a figure of mockery among my daughters because I complained so vigorously the next morning that some jerk across the river seemed to be playing the banjo endlessly, the same little, deliverance style riff, kind of tingity 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 tingity. Anna, who was sleeping in the teepee with me, woke up. I said, "Oh, Anna, I'm being driven nuts by this banjo." She rolled her eyes and said, "Banjo? That's Lainey's cell phone. It's her alarm." So I became, once again, the butt of jokes for the remainder of the trip. Here again, you get a view of just how brutal and relentless the conditions were. Anna, obviously pretty proud to be among the survivors. Me, proud just to be living at the end of it. The thing I'll say for this trip, and the point really that I'd like to make, is that there are a lot of reasons to be kayaking. Some of them are to improve your skills. Some of them are to get to, wild places that challenge your abilities. But another completely legit thing is to go out and have fun with your family in a way that is relaxing and pleasant and you can all enjoy. We had a load of laughs. It was among my favorite trips of the summer. My daughters are comical, interesting girls. Emily is fascinating. I was really happy. And frankly, there was absolutely nothing challenging about this trip. It was just a great trip to be on. So, thanks for listening. So long.